The gift of ruins. The Varaxian Dominion considered themselves generous. After all, not every species would offer such a magnanimous gift to a fledgling race barely a century into their interstellar ventures. The massive derelict warship had been towed into Earth's orbit with great ceremony, presented as a token of respect and cooperation between the ancient Varaxian civilization and humanity. What the eight-limbed aliens didn't mention during the elaborate transfer ceremony was that the vessel, once the pride of their third fleet, was now little more than a floating coffin. Its quantum drive cores had been irreparably damaged during the Cygnus conflict. The primary weapon systems had been stripped for parts. Microscopic fractures ran through its hull like spiderwebs, leaking radiation into vital compartments. Engineering decks 5 through 12 were completely inaccessible due to structural collapse during its final battle. Admiral Helena Cho watched the broadcast from her office at Luna Command. Her eyes narrowed as Ambassador Vexnar, a towering Varaxian with glistening blue scales, pontificated about the bright future of human-Varaxian relations. "They're laughing at us," she said to Captain Ilara Reeves, who stood beside her desk. "This isn't a gift. It's a distraction. A resource pit they expect us to throw ourselves into." Reeves, a combat veteran from the Mars Independence conflict, studied the holographic schematics of the warship floating above the Admiral's desk. At nearly 2 kilometers long, the vessel dwarfed anything in the human fleet. "Maybe," Reeves replied, her dark eyes moving methodically across the damage reports. "But what if we don't play by their expectations?" Chow raised an eyebrow. "You have something in mind, Captain." "Permission to assemble a specialized team, Admiral. I'd like to take a closer look at our gift." 3 days later, Reeves stood in the cavernous main hangar of the derelict, now temporarily designated Starship Prometheus. The radiation warnings on her augmented reality display blinked persistently, though her bodysuit provided adequate protection for short exposures. Around her, a hand-picked team of engineers, physicists, and military specialists moved through the massive space, scanning and documenting everything. "This is worse than the scans showed," said Dr. Arjun Mehta, the team's quantum physics expert. His drone swarm buzzed around the derelict power core, mapping radiation patterns. "The Varaxians didn't just give us junk. They gave us an environmental disaster." Reeves walked to the edge of a gaping hole in the deck, peering down into the darkness of the engineering levels. "Tell me something I don't already know, Doctor." "Well," he replied, his eyes on his datapad, "the radiation signature is unusual. It's not behaving according to standard decay models. There's something about the ship's hull material that's interacting with it." Lieutenant Commander Diego Ortiz, Reeves' XO, joined them. "The Varaxians sent an engineering contingent to assist us. They're waiting in orbit. Diplomatic Corps insists we accept their help as a gesture of goodwill." "Observers, you mean," Reeves said. "Here to watch us waste resources trying to salvage this wreck." She activated her neural link to the team's shared workspace. "Everyone, gather in Command Deck 3 in 20 minutes. Bring your preliminary findings." The makeshift command center they established was one of the few areas with reliable power and life support. As her team assembled, Reeves felt a familiar spark, the one she always experienced before a challenging mission. "Here's where we stand," she began, looking at the diverse group of experts she'd assembled. "The Varaxians have given us what they consider garbage. They expect us to fail in restoring it, wasting our limited resources in the process, while they continue to dominate regional trade and military presence." Dr. Samira Kauri, the team's materials engineer, spoke up. "The hull is composed of a metamaterial we've never encountered before. It's designed to absorb and channel energy, but the damage has created chaotic patterns of discharge, which explains the radiation leaks," Mehta added. "But I believe we could potentially restore, improve, the channeling properties, if we approach this from a quantum entanglement perspective rather than conventional repair." Reeves nodded. "What about the weapons systems, Commander Travis?" Weapons specialist Zoe Travis, looked up from her holographic display. "Stripped down to circuit pathways, Captain. But the pathways themselves are fascinating. They are designed to amplify energy in ways our tech hasn't achieved. With the right inputs, even without the original Voraxian weapons, these distribution systems could be repurposed." For the next hour, each specialist presented their findings. The picture that emerged wasn't of a hopeless wreck, but of a canvas of possibilities, if they were willing to think beyond conventional approaches. "The Voraxians didn't just give us a ship," Reeves said finally. "They gave us their technology. Damage, yes, but the underlying principles are there to study, to reverse engineer, and to improve upon." She stood, hands planted on the table. "I propose we don't try to restore this ship to its original specifications. Instead, we transform it into something new, something human." 6 months later, Admiral Joe stood beside Ambassador Vexnar in the observation lounge of Luna Command, watching as work crews swarmed around the Prometheus. The Voraxian's upper limbs twitched in what Joe had learned was an expression of concern. "Your efforts appear extensive," Vexnar said, his translator device rendering his chittering speech into smooth English. "We had not anticipated such commitment to restoring the vessel. Our engineers remain available to assist with the considerable challenges." Zhao smiled politely. "Captain Reeves reports satisfactory progress. The radiation issues have been particularly illuminating for our researchers. Across the solar system, far from diplomatic eyes, the true nature of Project Prometheus was taking shape in a classified facility within Neptune's orbit. There, the ship's extracted core components underwent transformation under the guidance of Reeves and her team. The radiation wasn't a bug, it was a feature," Dr. Mehta explained to the Oversight Committee. "The Voraxian metamaterials in the hull were designed to absorb and channel energy from weapons fire, allowing the ship to endure sustained attacks. The damage created unpredictable radiation patterns, but we've stabilized and enhanced this property." Dr. Cowrie continued, "By introducing our experimental quantum mesh technology into the hull structure, we've created what we're calling a phantom lattice. It doesn't just absorb energy, it multiplies it through quantum replication before channeling it to our new weapon systems." The committee members exchanged glances. Admiral Joe leaned forward. "In plain language, doctors," Captain Reeves took over. "The more energy directed at the ship, whether from enemy weapons, nearby stellar phenomena, or our own power systems, the stronger it becomes. We've turned their gift of a radiation-leaking coffin into an energy-amplifying weapon platform." Back in Earth orbit, the visible portion of Prometheus appeared to be undergoing conventional repairs. Scaffolding surrounded damaged sections, work crews in radiation suits moved across the hull, and shuttle traffic maintained a constant flow of supplies. The Voraxian observation team, permitted limited access to non-critical areas, reported back to their government exactly what they expected to see: humans struggling to repair alien technology beyond their full comprehension. What they couldn't see was the quantum mesh gradually replacing the ship's internal systems, or the prototype energy amplification arrays being installed in place of the stripped weapon mounts, or the adaptive AI core, based on both human innovations and reverse-engineered Voraxian technology, that was being integrated into the command systems. 12 months after receiving the gift, Reeves stood on the bridge of the transformed ship. The space bore little resemblance to its original Voraxian design. Human interfaces had replaced alien control systems. The bridge layout had been reconfigured to human ergonomics. Even the lighting had been adjusted to Earth standard spectrum. "Final systems check complete," announced Lieutenant Commander Ortiz from the operations station. "All subsystems responding within parameters." Dr. Mehta looked up from the science station, where quantum field readings flowed across multiple displays. "Phantom lattice is stable. Energy absorption and amplification circuits are online. Weapons systems ready," added Commander Travis. "Though I still recommend we classify them as energy redirection systems in official documentation." Reeves settled into the captain's chair, feeling the neural interface adapt to her presence. Noted, Commander. Let's not give away all our surprises at once. She opened a channel to Luna Command. Admiral Zhao, Prometheus is ready for her first full power test. Zhao's voice came through clearly. Proceed, Captain. Varaxian Ambassador Vexnar will be observing from our station. He's very interested in your progress. The test was designed to be impressive but not revealing, a demonstration of human determination rather than the ship's true capabilities. As remote drones fired low-yield weapons at a designated section of the hull, sensors recorded the energy absorption and redirection to the ship's power systems. In the Neptune facility, however, the real tests had already proven far more dramatic. There, isolated from observation, they had discovered that the Phantom Lattice could absorb energy at 300% efficiency, creating more energy through quantum duplication than was directed at it. The weapon systems, rather than conventional projectiles or beams, could release precisely calibrated quantum disruptions that could target specific materials or systems. As the public test concluded successfully, Admiral Zhao faced Ambassador Vexnar. It seems your government's generosity has not been wasted, Ambassador. Captain Reeves has performed admirably in restoring basic functionality to the vessel. The Varaxian's upper limbs twitched more pronouncedly now. Indeed, though we are somewhat surprised at the efficiency achieved given the extensive damage. His multifaceted eyes gleamed. My government would be interested in a more thorough inspection of the modifications, as a technical exchange, of course. Zhao smiled diplomatically. Of course. Once final systems integration is complete, we wouldn't want to disappoint your technical experts with unfinished work. As Reeves prepared Prometheus for its first official mission, intelligence reports brought troubling news. The Krell hegemony, a militaristic species from the Rimward territories, had been encroaching on human colonial outposts. 3 research stations had gone silent in the past month alone. The coincidence seemed unlikely. Someone wanted to test humanity's new capabilities, or prove they were a bluff. The trap was about to be sprung, but not in the way anyone expected. Wrath of the discarded. The Krell hegemony had built their interstellar empire through conquest and intimidation. When they encountered a new species, their approach was methodical. Test defenses, assess response capabilities, then strike with overwhelming force. The 3 human research outposts they had eliminated were merely probes, strategic prods to gauge Earth's military readiness. What puzzled Warmaster Draknar was the humans' muted response. A few diplomatic protests, rerouted shipping lanes, but no military mobilization proportionate to the provocation. Even more curious was the intelligence his spies had gathered about the humans' prized new warship, reportedly a reclaimed Varaxian vessel that had yet to demonstrate any significant combat capability. Either they are fools, he told his war council, or they are concealing something. Either way, the time has come to deliver a decisive message. The Krell battle group, 3 heavy cruisers and their escort vessels, moved toward the Proxima Centauri colony, humanity's first extrasolar settlement and a symbol of their expansion. The assault would leave no survivors but would stop short of destroying the habitable planet. After all, the Krell would need somewhere to establish their forward operating base in human territory. At Luna Command, Admiral Zhao reviewed the intelligence with grim satisfaction. They took the bait. The Krell battle group has altered course toward Proxima Centauri. She looked at the assembled Joint Chiefs. The colony has been evacuated as planned. Only automated systems and sensor platforms remain. General Takeda of Mars Defense frowned. Sacrificing our first extrasolar colony, even temporarily, is a steep price. The Prometheus better be worth it. It will be, Zhao assured him. Captain Reeves, are you prepared for intercept? On the bridge of the Prometheus, now officially rechristened as the UES Phoenix, Reeves acknowledged. Phoenix is ready, Admiral. We're maintaining position in the shadow of Proxima B's outer moon. The Krell won't detect us until they commit to their attack vector. Remember, Captain, this is not just about defending one colony. This is about reshaping humanity's position in the galactic community. Understood. Admiral. Phoenix out. The newly named Phoenix bore little resemblance to either its Voraxian origin or the decoy vessel that had been undergoing repairs in Earth orbit. Its hull, once battleship gray, now absorbed rather than reflected light, giving it a void-black appearance broken only by subtle contours. The massive energy conversion arrays, disguised as conventional weapons platforms, ran along its spine. Inside, the Phantom lattice had been fully integrated with all systems, creating a vessel that was part ship, part energy being. Krill Battle Group will enter the Proxima system in 17 minutes, reported Lieutenant Commander Ortiz. Their current formation suggests a standard intimidation approach. Display of force followed by targeted strikes to eliminate defensive capabilities. They're in for a surprise, said Commander Travis from Tactical. Phantom lattice is fully charged from our transit. Energy reserves at maximum capacity. Dr. Mehta monitored the quantum field displays. Absorption matrices are calibrated for Krell weapon signatures based on intelligence data. We should be able to achieve at least 280% energy conversion efficiency. Reeves activated the ship-wide communication. All hands, this is the captain. In 15 minutes, we will engage a superior Krell force in defense of Proxima Centauri. This will be Phoenix's first combat test, but I have full confidence in both this ship and its crew. What we do today will change humanity's future among the stars. Stand ready at your posts. The Krell entered the system with the confidence of experienced predators. Their sensors detected the automated defenses around the colony, standard orbital platforms, and ground-based energy weapons. Nothing that would trouble their heavily shielded warships. Commencement of attack sequence, ordered Warmaster Draknar. Disable their orbital defenses first, then target communication arrays. I want them isolated before we begin the ground assault. The lead Krell cruiser fired its main batteries, lancing beams of concentrated plasma toward the colony's defensive satellites. At that precise moment, Phoenix emerged from behind Proxima B's moon, accelerating at speeds that should have been impossible for a vessel its size. Krell vessels detected, reported the sensor operator on the lead cruiser. Configuration unknown. Energy signature is anomalous. Drakenar's facial spines flared in surprise. Origin. It appears to be human. Warmaster. But the energy readings are inconsistent with known human technology. The Phoenix streaked toward the Krell formation, seeming to absorb the ambient light around it. On its bridge, Reeves gave the order, all power to forward Phantom lattice. Prepare to receive their first salvo. Drakenar was no fool. An unknown vessel with strange energy signatures required caution. Target the unidentified ship. Full defensive barrage. Let's see what we're dealing with. The Krell cruisers pivoted with surprising grace for vessels their size, redirecting their weapon systems toward Phoenix. Multiple beams of high-energy plasma erupted from their forward batteries. Incoming fire, announced Travis. Impact in 3, 2, 1. Instead of the expected explosions against shields, the plasma beams seemed to distort as they approached Phoenix's hull, bending and then disappearing into the void-black surface. Direct hits, exclaimed Mehta with evident excitement. Phantom lattice absorbing at 310% efficiency, even better than projected. The Krell weapons use a plasma phase that interacts perfectly with our quantum mesh. On the tactical display, energy readings for Phoenix spiked dramatically. The quantum capacitors filled faster than their simulations had predicted. They're preparing a second volley, Travis reported. Still targeting our forward sections. Reeves leaned forward in her command chair. Maintain course. Let them feed us. The second Krell barrage was more intense than the first. Clearly, they were confused by the lack of damage from their initial attack. Again, the energy beams were absorbed by Phoenix's hull, causing the ship's power reserves to surge to unprecedented levels. Energy reserves at 200% of maximum rated capacity, Mehta reported. The Phantom lattice is creating fractal energy patterns, Multiplicative quantum duplication is exceeding all projections. On the Krell flagship, confusion reigned. War Master, our weapons appear to have no effect. The vessel is simply absorbing the energy. Drakenar's expression darkened. Impossible. Increase power to maximum. All ships concentrated fire. The third Krell barrage was their most powerful yet, a desperate attempt to overwhelm whatever defense the human ship possessed. The combined firepower would have vaporized a small moon. As the energy poured into Phoenix's phantom lattice, the ship began to glow from within, pinpoints of light appearing across its hull like stars emerging in an evening sky. Energy reserves at critical levels, warned Meta. We need to discharge now, Captain. Targeting solutions locked on all Krell vessels, Travis confirmed. Reeves nodded. Execute primary attack pattern. Let's show them what Phoenix can do. What happened next would be debated in war colleges across a dozen worlds for decades to come. Phoenix didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, the absorbed energy, multiplied and refined through the quantum mesh, was released in precisely calibrated quantum disruption waves. The first wave hit the lead Krell cruiser. Rather than exploding, sections of its hull simply ceased to exist. Matter converted directly to energy, which Phoenix promptly absorbed, further feeding its power reserves. The second and third waves struck the remaining cruisers with similar effects, not destroying them so much as unmaking them in selective patterns. Within 45 seconds, all three Krell cruisers had been effectively neutralized. Their weapons, engines, and command centers had been surgically removed, while leaving life support and crew quarters intact. All Krell capital ships disabled, reported Travis. Their escort vessels are breaking formation. They're retreating, Captain. Reeves opened a communication channel. Attention Krell vessels. This is Captain Ilara Reeves of the United Earth ship Phoenix. Your warships have been neutralized. We have deliberately left your life support systems intact. You will power down all remaining weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any further hostile action will result in a complete quantum dissolution of your vessels. You have 5 minutes to comply. The response was swift. The Krell, faced with technology they couldn't comprehend, surrendered. Within hours, the news had spread throughout nearby star systems. Humanity, previously considered a minor power at best, had defeated a Krell battle group with a single ship. The quantum dissolution weapons, unlike anything seen before, sent shockwaves through military and scientific communities alike. 2 weeks later, Ambassador Vexnar stood before the Varaxian High Council, his posture reflecting his distress. The humans have weaponized the quantum properties of our metamaterials, he explained. They didn't simply repair the derelict. They transformed it. The phantom lattice technology they've developed allows them to absorb energy, multiply it through quantum duplication, and release it as precisely targeted matter-energy conversion waves. The High Counselor's voice was cold. You assured us they would waste resources attempting conventional repairs. Instead, they have created a weapon that threatens the balance of power in the sector. We underestimated their innovative capacity, Vexnar admitted. Their approach to technology is fundamentally different from ours. Where we build on established principles, they improvise, create unexpected connections. And now they possess a vessel that becomes more powerful the more it is attacked, the counselor noted. A most inconvenient development. At Earth, a different conversation was taking place. Admiral Joe stood with Captain Reeves in the observation lounge of Luna Command, watching Phoenix in orbit. Its black hull seemed to drink in the starlight. The diplomatic channels are buzzing, Zhao said. We've received trade offers from species that wouldn't even acknowledge us 6 months ago. The Krell have proposed a non-aggression pact. And the Varaxians. The Varaxians are worried, Reeves finished. As they should be. They gave us what they thought was garbage, expecting us to follow their technological paradigms and fail. Instead, we created something entirely new. Zhao nodded. The Galactic Council has requested a demonstration of Phoenix's capabilities, and information about whether we plan to construct more such vessels. And what will you tell them? That humanity appreciates their sudden interest in cooperation. Zhao smiled. And that we're always open to receiving more gifts of derelict technology. As they spoke, research teams across Earth and its colonies were already working on variations of the Phantom Lattice technology. The quantum principles discovered during Phoenix's creation were being applied to defensive systems, power generation, and medical technology. The Varaxians had intended their gift to be a lesson in humanity's limitations. Instead, it had become the key to unlocking humanity's boundless potential. They had given humans a floating coffin, expecting it to become a tomb for their ambitions. Humanity had transformed it into the phoenix that would carry them to the stars, not as supplicants, but as equals. And that was a lesson the galaxy would not soon forget.